based on financial stuff, full of just regular everyday people. They came together and they did something. I don't know what they did exactly. I don't understand it enough to say it properly here. But they basically beat Wall Street at their own game. And they caused certain stocks to, a particular stock, I think it was called GameStop, to shoot up 2,000% in value, like overnight or over 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. And Wall Street is freaking out. Now, why? That's cool, you know. The little guys coming together and beating the big monolithic kind of people that think they run everything about the game. So that's of course very attractive. But here's the deal. There's a woman astrologer named Lada Ducheva. She's pretty active on YouTube. Very interesting. And she made a point that there's two parts. This is the example of the Aquarian age beginning to kind of, the energy and the consciousness of the Aquarian age beginning to manifest in a practical way, where a lot about the Aquarius is coming together, like the people coming together and overpowering the big powers, the big monolithic powers. And that this is one of the things that's going to start happening. And this example of these Reddit guys coming together and making certain stock purchases in a particular way as a group, as like a swarm, or as like a flock, or there's those birds that flying in the air. It's called a murmur, I think. And this group is really beautiful to watch. All of the birds come together and they move in unison, and they make this amazing, beautiful kind of visual cloud of birds swooshing through the air and scientists has figured out that there's no one leader making the decisions, that all of them come together and they all just know together at the same time what to do. So this sort of thing happened with this financial stuff, where these guys in Reddit, this giant group with thousands of everyday people coming together and operating like a murmur and bringing down or beating, as it's being told, beating Wall Street at its game. The point I'm trying to make is that this is, number one, it's going to start happening. Versions of something like this. It doesn't have to be about the financial markets. It can be about a lot of different things. But this is an evidence of a shift in consciousness coming out of the age of, what was it, Pisces or something? Now beginning over the next 100 years, moving fully into the age of Aquarius. And the results will be stuff like this. And the uprising, the coming together of the little man to beat the big monolithic players doesn't have to be violent. It doesn't only mean there's going to be violence in the street. It doesn't mean there has to be any violence in the streets. That's still old energy. So, very, very interesting comment this lady had. Yeah, things will change. Things are changing. Things are changing in ways that have never, and will continue to change in ways that it has never happened before. And it's about society of networks as opposed to a monolithic society of kind of one source of information, one way of communicating. It's little networks all over the place communicating, a network society. And the question for you, ask yourself, just for fun, what ways of looking at the world comes from the ideas, the beliefs, the assumptions of the way society has worked now, up until now? What ways do you, even though you don't agree with it, what ways are you perceiving the world? It has to be because that's the way it's always been. And where can you look at things differently to start saying, okay, how can I live in a way where least on a consciousness level, move out of this kind of monolithic view of the world and society and the way politics is done and the way finance is done and the way health is done and the way education is done, out of this monolithic thing into more of a network-based, this little groups of people coming together and unifying in a new way of being. Where do you support the old? Where do you support the new? What beliefs or ideas do you have that even though you don't intend to, come from a belief in the old monolithic way of looking things, and how can you change how you perceive the world so it's more in alignment with this more of a kind of a network way of experiencing the world and working in the world and creating in the world? Really interesting questions. It's going to happen one way or another. I don't know how I don't know how it's going to look exactly. I don't think anybody does, but think about these ideas. Maybe they're helpful to you. Ciao.